Hi guys, welcome back to my 13 Nights of Frights. We are now in night number 5. So for this episode, I want to talk about Stephen King's It, the film adaptation, a little bit about the book, and the remake that came out last year in 2017. Stephen King's novel was first published in 1986, and the film and the TV adaptation and the TV movie adaptation came out in 1990 in 2 parts. So the first part of the TV movie focused on the kids, and then the second part of the TV movie focused on them as adults. For some reason, this movie was the one to fear. Everybody just kept talking about it. I remember my siblings said like, oh, you haven't watched it. You're not ready to watch this movie because it's gonna scare the hell out of you. And the first time I watched it, it did scare me. Really implanted this fear of clowns inside me. Am I still fearful of them? Yes, but only demonic looking clowns. Clowns that are performing at birthday parties, I'm not scared of them at all. But yeah, all those special effect clowns that you see in horror nights, I don't fuck with them. Now as an adult, I can see it in another perspective. It's not the scariest movie. Let me just say that to you. Some of you will believe that it is, and that's totally fine, but in my opinion, it is not the scariest movie. This TV movie is flawed, of course, like any movie. Now I think the first part of the TV movie where it's centered around the kids, I think that's a great standalone horror movie. You really connect, you really feel the connection and the friendship between these kids. I thought those kid actors were really great in the film. And then Tim Curry's portrayal as Pennywise is fantastic.
See you with your dreams. Oh, come back anytime. Bring your friends.
He really made Pennywise terrifying. Like, he was supposed to entice these kids in a way like, oh, I'm just a friendly clown, but I can morph into your biggest fears. And that to me is such a great concept. I like the concept of this creature that we don't know where it's from, and that he's able to morph into these kids' fears to try to grab them in and kill them. Now the second part is just hilarious to me. It's somewhat of a joke. I didn't feel that connection. I didn't feel that chemistry or that bond with the grown-up actors. I thought it just kind of took me away for some of it. What really makes the second part hilarious to me is the ridiculous dialogue.
Why is it doing this? Why does it hate? Why is it so mean?
Why is it so mean? Then there was also that weird line that Eddie says when they're going into the tunnel to find Pennywise, where he just completely tells everybody that, oh, I'm a virgin.
I mean, I've never even been with anyone.
Eddie, what are you saying? You're a virgin?
Yeah.
Well, I can't help you with that, pal, but thanks for sharing.
And that line was so awkward, it made me cringe. I'm like, why are you telling them this now? There's a lot of those awkward, cringy dialogue that I want you guys to pay attention to the next time you watch this. Maybe you like it, or maybe you don't mind it so much, but I mean, I don't mind it so much. It's just watching it now as a grown-up versus when I watched it as a kid, I notice these things. As we all do. I mean, just watch any movie now that you watched and loved as a kid. You'll notice that, oh, maybe it's not so great, or yeah, there's some things wrong with it. I mean, all because a movie is flawed doesn't mean that you still can't love it, which leads me to talk about the book. So the book is very lengthy, like any Stephen King book. At first I thought I liked it, but then I reread it again and I was like, yeah, I don't like this. For one, I think the whole origin story of where Pennywise came from is completely bonkers. He came from a micro universe or something, and he was like this alien, and then he came to Derry. I mean, in my personal opinion, a monster or a villain does not need to have this elaborate backstory. Sometimes having no backstory at all for a villain just makes it more suspenseful. It makes it more creepier. Like, oh, we don't know where this thing came from, and we don't know how to defeat it. I think that makes it more interesting. It still captures that fear of this villain. Now, one thing I'm really glad that both directors of the 1990 TV movie and the 2017 movie, I'm really glad that they left out that weird, disgusting orgy scene that happens in the book. I just don't understand why that's in the book. Why does that contribute to the story? The explanation that's given in the book is like to keep them bonded, to keep them connected. But what I liked in the remake, in the 2017 version, they just made a blood pact, and that's what kept them bonded. That's what kept them connected. And you should have done that in the book. And it was just so strange, and then I just felt very uncomfortable reading it. Little kids, and it's in depth about this orgy scene. Not orgy scene. Let me backtrack. It's not an orgy scene. It's Beverly basically has sex with all of the kids, and she has to do this, and they agreed on this because, oh, this is gonna make us more connected, this is how we're gonna defeat Pennywise. Stephen King, what were you thinking when you wrote that? Were you thinking, are you demented? So let's move on to the 2017 It movie, directed by Annie Muschietti.
Tired, disappeared 6 times the national average. And that's just grown-ups. Kids are worse. Way worse.
I think this movie captured all the themes of the book. I think Bill Skarsgård did a fantastic job doing his own version of Pennywise. Any actor that goes in to replace this iconic role from a few years back, it's always going to be difficult because people are always going to constantly compare him to Tim Curry. Like, oh, he's not Tim Curry. Oh, he's not that. But I didn't feel that way. I didn't question that. Like, oh, he's not Tim Curry at all. I liked how he just made his own version of Pennywise. And it was very effective and impactful as well. Honestly, I like these kid actors more than the other ones, only because there was like some more humor and there more comedy, especially with Richie's character. I think he stole the movie. But what I didn't like about this was that they didn't give Mike Hanlon anything. He didn't even have a storyline. In the book and in the original movie, he was the town historian. He was the one that was interested in all the history of Derry. But they gave all of that to Ben's character. I don't know why they did that. I just feel like if you're not going to give Mike anything, then why you even put him in the movie? And like, oh, we're just going to put him in this movie because people are going to be mad that we didn't add him in there. I just don't like how they took away his storyline and gave it to Ben. I mean, Ben already had a storyline with Beverly. I really enjoyed this movie, and I'm really excited for part 2. I mean, we have Jessica Chastain, we have Bill Hader, we have James McAvoy, and then Bill Skarsgård is gonna come back. I'm really excited. I'm excited how they're gonna do it a lot differently than the second part of the TV movie, because that one was just so bad. So that concludes night 5 of 13 Nights of Frights. I'll see you guys tomorrow for night 6. Bye, guys.
I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.